Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to one and all for the fourth module of the I3T3 mega webinar. I hope you all enjoyed the first three modules of investing, WD-GAN, and simple price action. Today, we are going to take off with the uh, next series of sessions, and our first session for the day would be FTR strategy. In fact, the flag limit example always falls under the concept of power patterns, but we placed one concept in the simple price action story. Now we will take off with the next four major concepts of advanced price action, and we will start from the second power pattern, that's the FTR. Okay, so kindly read the disclaimer once, folks. Okay, so let's start with the second power pattern, FTR strategy, which stands for fail to return, and we also call it a double engulf strategy. FTR stands for fail to return. It is the second most powerful pattern in the entire price action story. If you all remember, in flag limit concept, there was one engulf. Correct? There was an engulf of an SR. Okay, an engulf of an high or a low. I'm sure every one of you are aware of it. Whereas FTR is a concept of double engulf. And this is again another a powerful trend continuation strategy. How many of you accept that flag limit was a very clear continuation strategy? The price broke out of a resistance on the upside or downside, comes back, tests the zone and moves in the direction of the breakout. Correct, friends? Anybody having any doubt, please give me a check. Okay, now the simple price action story was pretty easy. I had some great reviews and feedbacks from every one of you, and thanks a ton for those kind words, and I really feel blessed and honored. Now the real challenge begins from today. The advanced concepts are not that easy to digest. I have put my best possible efforts to simplify it in terms of lot of automation, and I'll try to go in the direction very slowly. Okay, and I want every one of you, all the 50 plus members in this class, to get this concept on the first attempt. All right, so what is FTR? So who failed? Why did they fail? For God's sake, why the hell they want to return? So we all know that price, once it goes to a particular point, okay, there might be some barrier there. There might be some resistance there. It might go sideways, and suddenly it can break out on the upside. It can break down on the downside. What is this? It's as good as your Wyckoff theory. How many of you remember Richard Wyckoff theory? Markup, sideways movement, either it is a reaccumulation or a distribution. Okay, so that's all a price can do. Okay, in a later scenario, which means when price breaks out upside, which means if it takes a reaccumulation route, then an FTR is generally made. Okay, we will get into the anatomy where we will discuss this concept in very micro detail, and that will surely explain the concept from the basic building blocks. Okay, so let's move on. Price is going high and price stopped at some point and reversed. What is that? I want full participation. It's a minor SR. Perfect. Then that's a high. I call it H1, whether it's a minor SR or a major SR. Now price went up and again reacted from that same point. That's a major SR. Very good. Now price broke that particular point and went up massively high. Okay, so what happened? The high is engulfed. Correct? The high is engulfed. Now price again reacts at some point. What happened there? What is that? That is another minor SR. Superb. That is another minor SR. At that point, what it does is it creates a high 2. Okay, it formed an high 1, broke that high 1, formed an high 2, and price came down and did sideways movement. What do you mean by sideways movement? Number of base candles being formed. And finally, the price breaks that high also. Correct? How many engulfs we saw? We saw 2 engulfs. That is nothing but double engulf. Okay? The concept is very simple. What did we see so far? We had an SR. Okay? Of course, an SR can be a minor or a major. We don't bother about it. Price stopped somewhere. Price engulfed that particular high and formed high 2. Once a high is broken, the next high is high 2. That next point where it stops. And then price came down, formed a base and broke that high 2 also. When this scenario is formed, a demand FTR is formed. And that point where it formed the base is called as the FTR demand zone. And then what do we do? So last session people are asking me, I don't know whether you're going long or short, so I made it a point to mention it. So now that is the zone I want to go long. Why? Price is above me. If price is above the zone, I want to go long. If price is below the zone, I want to go short. Why? We are retracement traders. We don't trade breakouts. We always trade retracements. So why do we trade retracement? Retracements are the points where there are pending orders. There is a beautiful question here. In this case, where is the flag limit? So we clearly explained in the flag limit session, there are only 3 kinds of flag limits that can be defined. Number 1, a base formation at the SR line. Number 1, at H1 there has to be a base formation. H2 at H1 there has to be a base formation, or it has to be a wick to wick formation, or it has to be a gap. Did you find any of the 3 here? The price royally moved up. It is a very strong momentum candle, which means there is no flag limit in this example. Anybody has any argument? Let me know. People who questioned on flag limit, buzz me again to reconfirm that you understand that there is no flag limit here. Perfect. Now the FTR demand is formed. Exactly. The price moved without any resistance at that point. If price is moving of any resistance at that point, how do you think there are pending orders? I am going towards the enemy fort. I casually pass the enemy fort. And there is no enemy. What? There is not that enemy is not strong. There is no enemy there. I casually moved. There enemy has absconded. I just passed the fort. I didn't even fight at the enemy fort. Okay, and then go long at the FTR demand zone. Where is my proximal line? Where is my distal line? Friends, I am not going to spend too much time on the proximal distal lines. You all already know how we form the two kinds of zone formations, the wick to wick zone formation, the body to wick zone formation. Depending upon the situation, according to my comfort, I use whichever the zone markings I want. Okay, that is my style. Zone marking is not as concept as a predefined precision rule. Zone marking is left to the comfort of the trader. Okay, now can anybody tell me, is there a flag limit at H2? People who asked questions, is there a flag limit at F2? Exactly, there is no flag limit at F2 H2, because the flag limit has three rules of definition at the high 2. At high 2, we don't have a base formation or a wick to wick or the gap. Perfect, superb. So now what we do is we will take a trade when the price comes to the FTR demand zone and we expect the price to bounce back. Okay, and you might argue that there is a base at the H2 level. Friends, understand this point. The base at the H2 is entirely different from the base below H2. They are different. Okay, so the base formation FTR demand zone, where did it form? It between H1 and H2. It didn't form exactly at H2. If the base formation happened exactly at H2, you could have taken a flag limit trade at that point. I have no issue. Okay, now the price has returned to the zone. This is an FTB and we will trade the FTB. Is that clear? I will take a pause now. I wish to clear everything to everyone and close all the open points. Oh, really? Nobody has any doubt? Are you sure, folks? There is a question of, is the accumulation happening after retracement from H2? Yes. The price formed a high at H2, okay, and then came down and formed a base. It can form anywhere. Somebody is asking why there is no base at H2. Why? There is no base at H2 because there are nobody there to fight it out. There are no opposite guys. What is failure to return? Why are we calling this failure to return? Think about it, guys. Okay, how many of you seen government buses? We have government buses. The government buses has a predefined route. They go wherever the government has allotted to them. They don't care about the demand and supply, because the government driver doesn't care about the revenue of the bus. Think about a private bus. Okay, this is the fantastic example that I can think of right now. Suddenly I got this thought. Let me write this. There is a government bus, friends. Okay, there is a government bus where it's going up, it's going in one direction, and suddenly it is going from Bangalore to Chennai, and the central station, this place, probably the midpoint of Bangalore to Chennai, probably Vellore or Salem, somebody told, sir, there's a huge bunch of people waiting in Krishnagiri to go to Chennai. Then what that private bus fellow do? He is very greedy. He want to make more revenue for his bus because he's a private owner. He is not a government driver. So what he will do? He will reverse the bus from Vellore, come to Krishnagiri, take in all the people at the town of Krishnagiri. From there he will go to Chennai. Now what happened when that man went to that place Krishnagiri? There are 100 people waiting. This fellow had only one bus. What did the owner of the bus do? He said, Acha, TK, we'll send one more bus to pull all the people into the journey, and the second bus comes, picks everyone, and take them away. And both bus belongs to the same company. Both buses are the same institution. Is this example clear? So what happened? The bus ideally, see, the first of all, Bangalore, the bus went from Bangalore to Hosur. Okay, H1 is Hosur. Okay, friends, H1 is Hosur, H2 is Krishnagiri, and the destination top is H3, which probably you can call Chennai. Okay, so what happened? Bangalore, the bus from Bangalore to Chennai crossed Hosur elegantly, and it reached Krishnagiri. Okay, and it crossed Krishnagiri and went all the way to the third point, probably Salem. At that time, what happened? The driver was told, man, there are a lot of people waiting on the backside. Why don't you take them also together? So what he does, he comes back. When the single bus, when it comes to Krishnagiri, the second point, which is here, come to this base. Okay, when it comes back to this base, he picks all the pending people there, and it failed to return to Hosur. Why? It has enough demands in this place only. Why the hell the bus should go back? Instead of 100 people waiting in the second point, if there are only 5 people waiting, what he will do? He will naturally come to this point. He will go to Hosur, pick the masses, and then bounce back. It's all a matter of pending orders. So what we are telling, since the high 1 and high 2 are broken elegantly with the utmost high momentum, we decide that there are no pending orders at H1 and H2. We believe there are only pending orders at the FTR demand zone, because that is the point where a good base was formed. Is this clear? And I keep moving ahead. I'll be talking with lot of examples. Definitely, I'm not going to stop it here, so don't worry about that. Okay, Pinakpini, are you clear? There is a beautiful question. If a base is formed at high H2, there is no FTR. No, if a base is formed at H2, then that becomes a flag limit. It becomes a flag limit. Perfect. Now let's connect, friends. Going forward, when I am talking to you, the basics of flag limit should be clear. When I move to third pattern, the second pattern should be clear. Okay. Somebody asked, is there a chance for price to take support at H2 instead of FTR zone? How is it possible? When I am crossing the enemy fort only, there is no enemy. When I come back again to the fort, why do I think there are enemies standing there? They're gone. Okay, and let me reiterate, fact, if the base formation of FTR demand zone happens at H2, it is not FTR, it is a flag limit. Why? It is breaking H2. What is the rule for flag limit? Break a resistance, engulf, come back. Of course it is breaking H2 with a base at H2. Simple. So finally, FTR is looking for good probable demand zones where there are pending orders so that we can go and consume those pending orders. And that momentum candles at H1 and H2 destroys the possibility of flag limit at both the SRs. I reiterate my statements. The strong two momentum candles at H1 and H2 destroys the possibility of flag limit at both the places, which means there are no enemies there. We'll take tons of examples, friend. Don't worry. Okay. The FTR demand zone is, what is that zone now? What kind of a price structure is this? Don't you guys think it is drop, base, rally? From H2, the price dropped, it formed a base, it rallied. And friends, don't always assume that, drop, base, rally means there is only one drop, one base, one rally. Drop, base, rally can be 5 continuous drops, 3 continuous bases, and 5 continuous rallies also. Okay, don't expect classic classroom patterns. Your net practice and real match are different. Okay, let me answer some of the pending questions. Okay, so I answered most of the questions. um, it is, so there is a question, what is that zone below H2? It is a demand zone. That is the only demand zone that exists, because two resistances are broken, two engulfs have happened. There's another beautiful question, sir. At H2, instead of a drop, base, and rally, there could have been a V-shaped base too. Possible. Don't expect base to always to become drop, base, rally. It could be a bullish engulfing also. A drop and a rally without a base. At that time, of course, zone marking would be difficult. Depending upon the size of the candles, you will take an appropriate point to trade. Okay. There is a question of time gap between H1 and H2. God knows. There is nobody knows time except WD GAN. Price action traders don't bother about time. Let it come back to the demand zone after 1 year, 5 years also. Zones will work. There is another beautiful question. What if price comes to FTR demand zone and don't respect it? That's a beautiful question, but that is a topic of the future, so we will not get into it. Okay, now there are multiple patterns of demand zones. Now park your questions. I guess we have done justice to this slide. I want to move ahead. There are some interesting topics to cover further. Okay, now let's take a real-time example now. Friends, focus. Same example, I am putting it in a beautiful candlestick format so that the concept will be crystal clear to everyone from this slide. All right, friends, price is moving up. So what happened? What is that line? A major SR is formed because 2 points are touching. Okay, that is nothing but high 1, the first high. Now price just went zoomed ahead, crossing that high 1, which means all there are no pending orders at the SR point. So there is no possibility of a flag limit there. There is all the trades are, all the pending orders are consumed. So if price comes back there is the probability of retracement is very, very low. All of you remember, we are retracement traders, we don't trade breakouts. Okay, now H1 is done. Now price slowly starts moving and formed another high. What kind of a point is this? It is a minor SR. And now don't ask me, Ashok, you showed a major SR below and a minor SR above. I know it is just an example. It can be minor SR both sides, major SR both sides, minor and major, or major and minor. It doesn't matter. It has to be a high. That's all. Okay. Now what happened? Price did sideways movement and suddenly spice spiked above and broke that particular second high elegantly, which ideally means there is again no possibility of a flag limit at that point. Because in flag limit there were three rules. Rule number one, it has to form a base. Rule number two, it has to either wick to wick. Rule number three, there has to be a gap. So which means none of the three things were formed. So according to the principles of flag limit, there is no flag limit. But when two highs are engulfed, okay, there is an FTR demand formed. Okay, I'll define the rules. The rules are simple. There are only 5 simple rules in FTR. Make a note, friends. Number one, rule number one, H1 formed. Rule number two, H1 broken. Rule number three, H2 formed. Rule number four, the base is formed. Rule number five, H2 is broken. A very, very simple 5-step rules. Okay. At that point of time, a base is formed, and that point is called as the FTR demand zone. I will repeat it again, Hari, in a minute. And now if price comes there, I want to go long. Why I want to go long? Why? Because that is a point where price stopped before and slowed down, and I think because of this massive momentum, there is a high possibility of pending orders there. So when price slowly comes down, it will kisses the FTR and have a massive rally. Okay, somebody is asking, repeat the rule 5 rules. Here is the rules. Rule number 1, high 1 formed. Rule number 2, high 1 broken. Rule number 3, high 2 formed. Rule number 4, the base is formed. And rule number 5, high 2 is broken and FTR is formed. There's another beautiful statement by Rangaji. It says that the momentum stock in lower time zone may consist number of bases. Absolutely. Who said no? But it broke the high. If you go to lower time frame, there would be a point of severe momentum for sure. And you just have to mark that FTR zone after the 5 rules, wait for price to come and trade that. Now, I will wait for 10 seconds to see if anybody is having any questions. And somebody is asking, Ashok, how do I keep waiting for the price to come there? I will teach everything in my algo session. We have built a beautiful algo studio where you don't have to even wait for it in the machine. You mark your levels, put the zones, enter the X1, Y1, Z1 in your computer, and you can go to office. That's the power of the algo systems we have defined. All the execution can be taken care by the algo systems. Okay, In the subsequent sessions next week, not next week, next to next week, we will be talking about algos, how we can automate your execution and various other stuffs. Okay. And there is a question, and do we have Telegram bot? Telegram bot is a very immature way of trading. It does not have any legal significance. Okay. And in the algo systems, you will have complete control of algos. When we go to those topics, we will talk about this. Now let's not deviate, let's stick to this story. So where do we keep stop loss, friends? In an FTR demand zone, where do we keep stop loss? Yes, little below the distal line. Sorry, anyone who said high is wrong. It has to be, your entry is always at the proximal line, and your exit, your stop loss is at the distal line or little below it. Okay. So the stop loss can be very narrow. And friends, remember, if you want the stop loss to further reduce, what you can do, go from a daily time frame to an hourly time frame. If you find a rally, drop based rally in a higher time frame, you go to lower time frame, you will definitely get another very smaller drop based rally, and the lower time frame base would be much smaller than the higher time frame base. We are not going to trade at H1. We are only going to trade at the FTR demand zone. H1 there is no trade. H2 there is no trade. Why? The two momentum candles have destroyed all the pending orders. Keshav sir. Yeah, perfect. Somebody says stop loss is very narrow. So what? We are very happy, no? Your risk is very low. Your reward can be very high. And there is a question. How do I mark the zone? Is it always week to week? No. In this example, I mark week to week because week to week is also very, very small compared to body to week. Whenever body to week is very high, I will go for body to week. Whenever body to week is very high, I will go for lower week to lower week. Is it necessary to do a multi-time frame analysis after this pattern is formed? So what you have to do is you need to go and mark the same pattern in multiple time frames. Go and mark an FTR in daily zone. Go and mark an FTR in hourly zone. Go and mark an FTR in 15-minute zone. So you will know. So naturally, an FTR in a daily zone is much powerful than an FTR in a 15-minute zone. So if there is some shorting possibility, you don't take it. Okay. It is always subjective. Okay. Yes. There is one question. Chetan says, is it compulsorily that both H1 and H2 should be broken at with momentum candles? There is no chance of a base candle there? If at all a base candle happens at H1 and H2, what is that? It is a flag limit. Yes. If a base forms at H1 and H2, it is a flag limit and it is power pattern 1. You look for a trade at H1, H2 only. Mark your flag limit. There is no FTR there. Clear, Chetan? The message from Arvind, meaning we will not take trade in this example at H1 and H2, 100% true. You should not take the trade because there is no trade, there is no pending orders. You must only trade at the FTR demand zone. Can FTR exist with FTL zone at H1? Excellent question. Can an FTR exist with a flag limit zone at H1? Absolutely yes. So then what happens? You will have, I'll mark this. Okay, there's a beautiful question here. What the question is, instead of this momentum, what if there was a bearish candle, and what if there was a momentum candle? Now friends, what was the rule? What was the rule of FTR? Rule number 1, H1 is broken. It is broken. Okay. Rule number 2, H2 is rule number 1 is H1 formed. Yes. Rule number 2, break H1. Yes, it's broken. Rule number 3, H2 formed. Rule number 4, H2 broken. I'm sorry, base is formed. And rule number 5, H2 is broken. Now here at H1 there is a base form. So what? This is a flag limit. Next time when price goes up, I trade this zone also. I'll also trade this zone also, because I know there can be a reaction here. So this zone also I trade, this zone also I will trade. Is that clear, Sridharaji? There can be an FTR, a flag limit below a FTR, above an FTR. Everything is clear rules. Friends, you must not forget the rules. I'm honestly telling you, I have taken a lot of pain in defining and simplifying this story. What is the target? The basic rule that I tell everyone, a minimum 1:3 target tomorrow. Okay. Now, generally price action traders, what they do, the target can be the point where it reversed. This can be one target, because FTR demands on price has come. Let me clean this off. So the price has come here, it has reacted. So price stopped here. See, this is one point of stoppage. Why? This is drop based drop. Price can react here also. I'm sorry. See, these are all common sense, friends. Okay, there's no rocket science to teach here. You know that this is a drop, this is a rally based drop. Okay, this is a rally based drop. This is one zone. Okay, and there is a drop based drop. This is another zone. Now price has come from here. Suppose say this is a point of 1:3. Suppose. Okay, so I can book profit here, or I can wait for target price to, this price will reach to the next zone for sure. Okay, it can go here. And sometimes what it can do, price can retrace, do chotu retracement, and then go retrace and even break it. But every zone it will retrace. Some zones it will respect and come down also. So but we are mathematically clear, we will play 1:3. Manish says, in crude oil I have seen this pattern a lot when it is rallying up. Yes, when FTR gets formed, and multiple FTRs will be formed. Multiple. Yes, Satish, correct. Okay, there is one beautiful question. If there is a gap up between H1 and H2, which means instead of price breaking through the H1, what if it forms a gap? Now the gap thing you need to check. If that gap rule is forming within the rules of our flag limit, that is a flag limit. Now friends, can you guys agree and understand that even let's say H1 is a flag limit. Let's say H1 is a flag limit. So price comes here and breaks the high. Okay. And H2 is also a flag limit. Price comes here, forms a base and goes up. Okay. Now, don't you guys think that this is one zone, flag limit zone at H1? This is another flag limit zone at H2. Okay, price when it goes up, according to rule of FTR, from there it can react from here, then come down, react from FTR zone also, and finally it can even come down to this flag limit, it can react here also. So this is also a valid trade, this is also a valid trade, this is also a valid trade, this is also a valid trade. Sridhara sir, is that clear? Anand, I clarified you also. high 2 should always be the higher than the high 1 naturally. Friends, H2 must always be higher than H1. Okay, I have not mentioned that. Come on. The example is crystal clear. It has to make another high, or else where is the trend up? True, Satish. Oh, there is a beautiful question. Is there a pattern for triple engulf? There are so many engulfs, sir. Wait. If a base formation happens at H1 and H2, it is both of them will be called as flag limits. In spite of having those two flag limit, FTR is also valid. This FTR is also valid. Why? This is a draw base rally base rally. Friends, understand this point clearly. Don't get confused. Huh? People are telling, what if this there is a base here at H1? In that case, H1 is a flag limit. This is also a flag limit, and FTR is also valid. It is an FTR because all that matters is this momentum, guy. If I don't get a good momentum, let's say I'll mark it here. Okay, H2 is here, friends. Okay, so found price high, it went up. Okay, H2, and it comes down and it forms a base. Okay, and then zoom, it went up, it forms a base at H2 and went up. No, this is H2, friends. Okay, I'm just redrawing H2 scenario. So what has happened? H2 is formed, base formed, H2 also broken. So this is an FTR demand zone. Correct, friends? This is FTR. At the same time, your flag limit at H2 is also valid. So you can play both. When price comes, you can trade here, and when price comes to flag limit, you can trade this also. But 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 from a momentum perspective, if two highs are broken with an example like this, that is a very strong FTR. So these are the intricate stuffs, friends, we need to understand. There is no ready-made answer for many of these questions. We need to experience. That's why I am telling we need to go and plot those 1,000 charts. And those 1,000 charts will give us all probable scenarios, and they will give us lot of options to fine tune the concept. Tomorrow we can have a start telling if there are, if the all FTRs with two high momentum breaking, both H1 and H2 has a 55% accuracy. All FTRs having a flag at H1 and H2 has 45% accuracy. So naturally we look for the second one, the bigger one, the first one. Okay, this we will improve. When will this price action become invalid? Can someone tell me when this price action becomes invalid? The price action is invalid when the price goes out of the, breaks the H2, comes to the FTR zone and breaks it. When that is broken, that FTR demand is gone. FTR holds good for both longs and shorts. Friends, I am not taking short scenarios. Again, the concept is same. Okay, we will talk about it in the subsequent slides. Now let's move on. I'll keep repeating. Don't worry, I'll keep repeating. Now, there are two kinds of FTR demand. H1 broke. Okay. H2. Correct, friends? Now that is a point of zone formation, bent up. So that is a FTR zone. Yes or no? Scenario 1 is perfect, no? That is nothing but what we studied. And this is an interesting stuff. See, in the case 1, the FTR zone is formed in between H1 and H2. Whereas in case of second scenario, the zone is formed below H1 also. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why? Our rule is very clear. H1 formed, yes. H1 broken, yes. H2 formed, yes. Base formed, yes. H2 broken, that's all. Whether the base is formed below H2 or much below H1 and H2 doesn't matter. Base has to be formed. Ranga is asking a question. If flag limit at H2 is formed after FTR, whether FTR is still valid? What do you mean by that? Price breaks out of H2 and we will look for retracement. If price comes back at that zone, we are telling there there is no pending orders. There cannot be a base after FTR is formed because FTR has already destroyed the enemy fort, right? There, Ponguru, there is no validity stuff like that. Okay. Perfect. Okay, if H2 is gap up, what is the point? We will, if suppose friends H2 is gap up, then what you will do? You will look for, if the zone is small, if the gap up is small, you will look for a retracement trade because that becomes a flag limit. If the gap up is too high, be guarantee that your FTR will work. Okay, Devan sir, if in the base we can, if the base candles are only narrow range, we can go wick to wick 100%. That is why I've gone wick to wick here. Everyone understood the concept of fail to return, right? Price, the bus went from Bangalore to Chennai. The first stop was made at Hosur. Okay, and the second stop was made at Salem. Okay, and then what happened at Salem? They realized that there are a lot of people waiting in Krishnagiri and Hosur. The bus comes back, stops at Krishnagiri. Krishnagiri was not in plan. That is the base. The bus picks up people in Krishnagiri. The bus loves to go to the Hosur to pick up, but it can't go because there is so much demand here only. So the bus moves ahead and it failed to return to Hosur. This is the best example I can give you. Since the bus failed to return to Hosur, it is FTR. And it moved ahead in the direction of the journey. Okay, somebody is telling come to Maharashtra. In fact, last year I did a training in Ludhiana in Punjab. I didn't even know the places properly. I had to take examples of these places from the lovely city of Chandigarh to Ludhiana to Jalandhar to Amritsar. It was, I was like, I was doing mistake. I was telling in a wrong order. So people used to guide me. They say, Ashok, you're wrong. This city is like this. So I had to apologize. This is a route which I regularly travel from Bangalore to Chennai generally. Anyway, okay, friends, understood? There are two demand patterns. One, the base can form in between the high 2 and high 1, or it can form below high 1 also. Both concepts are same, both are valid, both are correct. Don't creep or don't get confused with multiple methods. There's only one single FTR concept. The where the base is forming has no significance. Now don't ask, sir, case 1 is good or case 1, both are super, both are perfect. This is just to inform you that that base can happen there tomorrow, so that nobody can ask or get confused with it, and you guys can ignore it also. Why? That question should never come to your mind, because we have only 5 rules and both these scenarios respects the 5 rules. High 1 formed, high 1 broken, high 2 formed, base formed, high 2 broken, finally FTR is formed. Just simple 5 rules, friends. And I hope I have really simplified the scenario to everyone. Now let's see the summary. Is this clear? Are you guys happy understanding this concept? I hope I have simplified the entire scenario. And we are going to take at least 10 examples in the times to come. Okay, so don't worry. So remember these 5 rules, make a note. Tomorrow FTR, you need to check only these 5 simple rules. If you guys stick to basics, your advanced is always simple. If you miss basics, your advance is gone. Okay, that's what we always say. Common sense in abundance is called wisdom. Okay, now anatomy of supply. Come with me, friends. Price comes down, something happened, low one formed, simple. And then L1 broken, L1 broken, price retraced. What is that? L2 formed. Then price went sideways and then breaks L2. And that is the point a supply FTR is formed. Just mirror image the rules of demand FTR. L1 formed, L1 broken, L2 formed, base formed, L2 broken. 5 rules, supply FTR is formed. Now that becomes my supply FTR zone. And now my distal line and proximal line shuffles, because since price is below the FTR supply zone, now I am going to short if price comes back to the proximal line, and I keep my stop loss a little above the distal line, and price comes back and elegantly retraces from there. Okay, okay, yes. Anand says, can the base touch the trend line? Why not? Because remember, we are clearly told there are only 5 rules. If 5 rules are formed, we are done. And Rangaji says, breaking of H2 is only expected or no guarantee. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. Breaking of H1 is also not guaranteed. What are we doing? We are just looking for places where all the 5 rules have formed. We are not telling all 5 rules will form. Nothing like will. We are nobody. We, after all the 5 rules are formed, we declare that the supply FTR is formed, and then I say if it retraces back, I enter. Then nobody has asked me still now, sir, what if price don't come to that FTR zone? You can't do anything. You have to wait. This FTR supply zone is a beautiful place for me to short, but the price didn't come there. What will I do, friends? Okay, huh? And if you ask me, Arey sir, that bus fellow, private bus fellow was supposed to come back to Krishnagiri to fill the bus. The bus went half. Why did that fellow didn't come? That is his choice. He doesn't want to come. He doesn't want more revenue. He will go wherever he want. Where to enter the trade? The trade, I have clearly mentioned that we always enter the short trades at the point of proximal line. We always take stop loss here. This is entry, this is stop loss. The moment low 2 is broken, at this point of time, we decided that an FTR is already formed. And then price has to come all the way to my zone for me to trade, and then only I take my trade. Umesh sir, are you clear? Mr. Umesh Thakkar. So the point is, we are retracement traders. Sridhara is told in the morning that Axis Bank has an FTR and Kotak Bank has an FTL, FL rather. Okay, so price alerts you can definitely put. Okay, so execution, keep it aside. My algo session would go very deep into the execution concepts, and I have some interesting stuff which many of them in India don't even imagine. Okay, we have done so much of automation in place. There is a statement, if price does not respect that FTR zone and breaks it, can we trade as flip trade? Yes, Chandru, that is a concept called swap, which we will talk tomorrow. I am going to clear this slide and I'm going to normal mode. Now comes the candlestick story. Okay, low one formed. Price broke the low. Rule number 2. Low 2 formed. Rule number 3. Price went sideways. Base formation. Rule number 4. And price broke the low 2. Rule number 5. The moment low 2 is broken, the supply FTR is formed. And that base is my FTR supply zone, and they are my proximal and distal lines. And when price comes back to that zone, I am going to short. And when price comes back into that rectangle, I take an entry and it will bounce back. Friends, is that clear? Simple? Mr. Umesh Thakkar, is it clear? You were asking me where to take trade. There's a beautiful question. If price returns before touching L2, it is not an FTR naturally. If the 5 rules are not completed, it is not an FTR. What is the fifth rule? The low 2 has to be broken, right? If it is not broken, there is no FTR for you. Very good question. So what are the 5 rules of FTR? L1 formed, L1 is engulfed upside. My apologies. This is one happens when you do copy paste. Okay, thank you, Hari. L1 is formed, L2 is engulfed downside, L1, L2 is formed, the base is formed, and L2 is broken. So finally, supply FTR is formed. So we always wait for retracements to trade. We never ever trade breakouts. Ashok, can the trend line concept is also, can it get respected at the FTR zone? It may not. We are not playing on trend lines. We are only playing on the pending orders. We just want pending orders to be traded. We believe that if price goes to a point, if at all there is some pending orders, it should react. Same story with supply patterns. I'm sorry, I should give me a second, friends. This animation went for a havoc. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. So case 1, L1 formed, reacted, broke L1, formed L2, reacted, formed a sideways base, and broke L2, and that is the FTR zone. And if price comes to that zone, we are going to trade. In second case, same story, but check where did the base form. In the first case, the base formed between L1 and L2. In case of second, the FTR zone formed above L1 and L2. Sir, if we want to play using trend lines, how do we decide? Look for conjunction between your trend line and base. If FTR and trend line passing through each other, you have a double confirmation. Yes, if trend line comes at FTR, it is a very high probable trade. Now, friends, now go back. Mark your FTRs and check if your FTR zone is coinciding with your GAN power of 8, GAN square of 9, GAN square of 360. There you don't have hard work. I have done all the hard work for you. The level should come instant. And remember, we are retracement traders. You don't have to sit in front of a computer all day. Remember this, friends, anybody who sits in front of computer 7 to 8 hours every day, definitely that person will not be a great trader. Personally, I believe that out of 8 hours or 10 hours work you do every day, 1 hour in front of terminal, 9 hours in research, analysis and investigation. When you do that, you will start picking, you will start learning faster, and you do much superior trades year on year. May not be month on month or week on week, I'm telling year on year. Finally, we formed 4 FTRs. Is it clear? These are the 4 concepts we studied now. Sure, Satish, we'll do that. So what did we do here? This is an H1. Friends, don't ask me why this is H1. Okay, it is H1 because of some actions in the past. That's it. There is an H1. That's all. Just to explain the example. Again, we cannot put two lines kissing and then prove that there is an H1. An H1 is formed here. H1 is broken. High 2 is formed. Base formed. Broken. If price retrace, we take a trade. Similarly here, H1 broken. H2 is formed. Price came down, formed a base, broke H2 also. So when price comes back, we will take this trade. Now see where the base happened. This base happened between H1 and H2. This base happened below H1 and H2. Same thing here. Price broke S1, formed a high, formed a slow base and broke. Formed a low, sorry, formed a low. I apologize. Similarly, price broke S1, formed an S2 here, went up, formed a base and broke S2 also. And finally, if it retraces, we'll take a trade. Correct. Correct, Satish. Okay, friends. The break is at 11 o'clock. Somebody wants break. Is it sleepy, friends? Interesting, boring, difficult? Throw some feedback. I don't mind going little more slower to make sure everyone understand. Okay. Superb. Thank you. Now let's come to examples. I just take a small 1-minute pause. Okay. Friends, I am back. Sorry for the delay. The mouse was creating some difficulty. It was not moving easily. Okay. Now, so let's me look at the questions now. Okay. Will such questions happen in intraday also or only in long term? What is price action concept? Price actions are universal in nature. They are applicable to monthly, weekly, daily, hourly, 15, 5 minutes, even 1 minute, any time frame. See, I go on daily because I'm used to daily because I don't do price action at a very low time frame. Okay. Okay. Now, here is the example. Let's see what is happening here. Let me take a marker. There is a major resistance here because it touched 2 points, and then price broke this, formed a high H2, the second high, and then price came down, formed a base and retraced. And next, from there, when it comes back, this is where we are going to take trade. This is the proximal line, this is the distal line, and we take for a reversal trade. This is what FTB. Okay. What is FTB? Pratik sir, did you miss the classes? FTB stands for first time back. Oh, you yourself know. Superb. Okay. I'm going to erase it. I'm going to erase it. Somebody is asking me, Ashok, why don't you consider it as a flag limit? Because at the break, okay, there is bit of congestion and looks like a base. Even if you take that as a base, this becomes your entry. Still it will work. Okay, remember, in a classic practical scenario, such things can emerge. Okay. Does this price action behavior work for low volume stocks? It can work for anything. We are only looking for pending orders, right? Okay. And now look at it. Now where should I place my target? Okay. So there is a question, should I always take 1:3 and opposite zone? Generally what we typically do is a minimum 1:3 we want. That is our theory. That is our bottom line. Okay, we want minimum 1:3. So what happens? Price went up, right? It made congestion here, congestion. This is all compression. We'll talk about it later. Okay, and while coming down also, it made enough compression. We'll talk about it. Price elegantly kissed and bounced. Now see here, there is a drop base drop here, there is a drop base drop here. So when price goes from here, it can react from here, it can react from here, it can react from here, or it can fall from here also, anywhere, we don't know. But our minimum target is 1:3, and anything more we are happy. But I want everyone to take minimum 1:3. That is a rule, thumb rule of our program. If we don't take 1:3, then no, minimum we should get achieve 1:3. As time progress, friends, then what happens? You will see multiple FTRs, multiple flag limits, multiple caps, multiple Quasimodos on your chart, and you will trade between FTR to FTR. You take a trade at demand FTR, you try to the target is a supply FTR. You will short at supply FTR, you will take out a demand FL. From demand FL you go to supply Quasimodo. From there again you might go to demand FTR. Like that you keep traveling between power patterns. Gaurav Singh, is it fine? And there's just a question. There, Well, can we take Fibonacci retracement levels help while taking trades? That's your choice. Okay, definitely you can take. One of the simplest way people can do is plot a Fibonacci levels, and you can have a look at where it is reacting. Wherever there is a zone, you can look for a trade. That's your choice. But as price action, we'll only believe price action. We're only looking at pending orders. Okay. Can't we automate this FTR finding? No, I tried it because of this. The concept is very simple. Of course, your naked eyes can see it, but defining these highs, whenever these swings comes, it's very difficult to program. Of course, it is not impossible. Is there an FTR made near the date 6th on the example given? Let me check it. Where is 6th? Pen color red. 6th, 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 5th, 6th. 6th is somewhere here. Okay. So this is a resistance. Price formed a high. This base is not good actually, and then broke that high. Okay. But here you can't, I don't prefer this kind of places because zone is bad. Though it reacted here like FTB, but still not a good point. So now you know classic. When we wait for such classic patterns, you will get lovely trades. Okay, in this example there are people who are asking, sir, for me this looks like a flag limit zone because at the point of SR there is a Chotu base. In fact, this is you can take this as a week to week also. I have no problem. Even if you take as week to week, this guy is winner. Okay, so Hari, in the next session we are getting into only examples. There we talk a lot of things. Okay, I have marked a hell lot for you. Okay. Okay, so if you guys want program to identify base candles, I can give you. I will send you the AFL, but I insist everyone not to use it. Okay, friends, because your eyes should make out. You should not have dependency on them. Okay, by looking at that candle, you should know it's a base candle. Why should you require it? Your eye is the indicator for me. Arvind, shoot your questions. I'm sorry, I just missed your question. Shoot your question once. What's your question? I will take that question and move on to the next slides. Similar thing. Now there is a resistance. Price broke that resistance, came down, formed a base, zoomed up. So this is the FTR zone. And when price came to that zone, it kissed and bounced. Friends, how many of you think that this FTR is not as per the 5 rules? I am clearing everything. Have a look again. R1, R2. Is it clear, friends? Any doubt? Tell me. Shoot your doubt, Hari. Okay, Arvind, in case of retracement, okay, sometimes friends, remember, once high 2 or L2 is formed, don't expect a big retracement for base to form. It need not form. Did I ever say that retracement is a rule? I clearly told 5 rules. H1 formed, H1 broken, H2 formed, base formed, H2 broken. I said base formed. I didn't say base formation of a deep retracement. No. In the example, classic example, to make you understand, I took that plotting, and real time it can be anything. In this case, yeah, it is good. It formed a high, it came down, formed a cute base, and it went up. The price can always return without touching FT, without crossing high 2. It's all possible. Okay, it's a price journey. But for FTR to be considered good, these 5 rules must be formed. Okay, in this example, what happened? The high R2 is formed, R2 is broken. Now, which base we need to trade? Always remember which is the momentum candle which broke the R2. Go to the bottom origin of that momentum candle, go reverse, go to the origin point, and here you see a base, you mark that base. Here he has marked body to wick. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see that? He has not even marked body to body. No, he has taken wick to wick, because it is like a top where here there is no wick on the upside. Close is equal to high. Yes, yes. In this case, I will look at it. When breaking H2, the momentum is candle is strong. When breaking H1 also, there was a strong momentum candle. Okay. Now think about this, friends. Let's say there is a resistance here. Let's say there is a momentum candle like this. Okay. Let's say. Now let's say there is a momentum candle like this. Now let's say there is a momentum. Which is the best momentum candle? Now tell me which has the highest probability of success. Yeah, simple. The third candle, because that has the biggest momentum. So here, see, it closed just below this high. Instead of this, if this momentum was this much, it would have been much more powerful. Then this FTR would be much more stronger. That's all. Okay. Now, as you go forward, then when you start looking for FTRs, don't do curve fitting. Curve fitting is try. There might not be a classic FTR. You are trying to push it hard. Push it hard. Okay. Now I am going to clear everything. Is the example clear, friends? Whenever you want to take the base, okay, where do we mark? Where do we mark the zone? It's very simple. Whichever candle which breaks the high 2, this is the candle. Go reverse, go to the bottom of that candle. That is a source. From there where the rally started, that is the base. Simple. Okay, the FTR above this example also worked. I don't know. Let me have a look at it. Let me erase this. Let's say this is an high, H1, formed a high. This is the base. This worked. It worked. Of course, it worked. This is H1. This is the next one, H2. H2 is it was broken. Okay. Formed a base. H2 was broken here. This base reacted here. Okay, friends. There is a small FTR here also. This is a small FTR. Always trade FTB. Yes. Yes. Can we consider zone 24 Jan 12 hours? 24 Jan 12 hours. This zone. Yes, that is the best zone. That's what he has traded actually. This guy. This is a high, broke upon. This is a base formed. It broke. Wow. This is also according to me H2. Let me clear it off. Now see, friends, this is a high formed. H1. H1 broken. Rule 2 cleared. Okay, H2 formed, rule 3. Base formed, rule 4. If price comes here, you can trade also. If price comes here, you can trade here also. Price has never come. This is also an FTR only. Anybody having any argument? Pratik, thank you for finding it. In this example, in the same example, Yuga, give me 1 second. In this example, at R1, R1 is this. Okay, there is zone drop base rally. Drop base rally. This is the one. Correct. So we would have marked that zone, stop loss would have been made. No, there is no stop loss there. Is it possible to remember all zones? Yes, of course. You just mark it and leave it there. You know it. You can set there are settings in AmiBroker where it can throw alerts for you. Your zone has come. Mm. At resistance, there is zone. Drop base rally. Drop base. This is the zone. This is the drop base rally you're talking, Yuga. Aha. I'm sorry. Yuga will take it offline. I am unable to get your question. Sorry about that. Okay. We'll take more examples. No problem. If there is any issue, please park it. We'll take it up because I'm unable to understand which point you're referring. Same with you, Pratik. Sorry. Okay. Coming to supply FTR. So there was a support. There was a support S1. Okay. Price broke. See, formed a Chotu S2 in this case. And then went up, rally, base, drop. Okay. FTR formed. This is FTB. This is FTB. Now in this example, it's very clear. There is no strong momentum for S2. If you say, Ashok, this is this, we will not trade. Let us not trade this. No problem. Okay. I'm not telling this is a perfect example. See, that is why I bring in these kind of scenarios. If I put all classic scenarios, you guys will think the world is classic. It is not. World is not rational. When you go practically, only these kind of things emerge. I purposefully put these kind of things so that we debate more and learn more. That is my intention. Yes, Hari, you're right. Finally, friends, all waiting. The torture of price action is waiting only. Okay. So for example, see, look at this. This is, if I take this as an S1, friends, erase all drawings. This is S1 for me. Price broke. S1 broken. Price went up and formed S2, and S2 is this. So price broke. Okay. Now where is my zone? This is a candle which broke my S2 also. Okay. Now there are two zones. Price can react from here. Why? There is a drop based drop. See, just miss the trade, or here. But ideally we will trade here only. We will not wait for this fellow. Every two consecutive peaks and valleys are giving me zones. Perfect, Pratik. That is the purpose. In an uptrend, you will get multiple demand FTRs. In a downtrend, you will get multiple supply FTRs. Okay. If your eyes are seeing more and more FTRs, my mission is already accomplished. Because when I learned FTR the first day, I didn't even find a single FTR. Imagine the kind of difficulty I had with the kind of explanations. If an FTR has failed, don't worry. We are not talking about 90% win rate. We are telling even 30% win rate, we are superstars. We will make a lot of money. So if an FTR failed, don't worry. I am fine with it. Don't think all FTRs will work. Sorry. Now look at this. These are the examples that I personally marked. Okay. This is a supply FTR. Clear. Support 1. Okay. Support 1 broken. Find from support 2. Price went up, formed a base, broke support to here. So then what happened? I went reverse to the origin of that particular break. This is the point. So I mark my FTR supply. So when price comes to this point, that is FTB, that's where I take my trade. It reacted to me. This is my entry, short entry. This is my stop loss. Umesh Thakkar sir. Well, there's a lovely statement by Pratik. Friends, he says that an FTR at a GAN semi-annual pivot could be a great combination. Yes, this is what I was telling every one of you. This is what I was telling every one of you, because friends, this is where now you know what, most of the GAN stuffs are readily available for you. Don't have to even put effort. My studio will help you. Now this price action, I want you to do the manual work because you need to put efforts. Okay. And once you identify that method, imagine you have double conviction. Your price action FTR is selling a buy and your GAN square of 9 is selling buy. Tell me how many people around you would have this combined identification or zone. Well, hardly, maybe 1%, I must say. So it takes time, friends. If you keep thinking in that direction, if you move ahead in the same thought process, a lot of things emerge for you, I promise you. Okay, this is called as an FTR escalator. What is an escalator? You'll go for all the malls that you go, the fourth floor or the fifth floor will have your cinemas, the PVRs, the Inox. So you generally most of the times we take escalators, right? Similarly, it's an escalator. In an uptrend, series of FTRs gets formed. What is this? This is H1 broken, H2 formed, comes down, forms a base, broken. So this is FTR1. Now H2 becomes 1 now. See, 2 is broken, forms high, 3 comes down, forms a base, goes up. This is FTR2. If anybody thinks this is not FTR2, let me know. And next again, 3 is broken. If you take 3 as the high one, 4 is high 2. Price comes down, sideways, breaks 4. So that is FTR3. And similarly, you get FTR4. Any questions here? If you have really understood all my teachings till now, this slide should be easy for you. When price is in an uptrend, it creates multiple FTRs. When price is a downtrend, it creates multiple downside FTR, which is supply FTRs. In this example, these are all demand FTRs. The moment price one is engulfed, Is there any rule to trade any particular FTR in the journey? You can trade any FTR. There is no rule, first FTR only you should play. Excellent statement, sir. Can we say that if an FTR, if the top FTR is broken, the trend is reversed? Superb, that is correct. FTR 4 is then. Suppose when price comes there, instead of forming a zone, it breaks this FTR, then the uptrend is eliminated. Then from this moment, okay, automatically the supply FTRs will start forming. Okay, the same thing reversal would happen. It will start reacting from the upside and it will create series of supply FTRs, and you can look to trade all supply FTRs until any supply FTR is broken. Okay, that is an FTR escalator. Okay, and as time progresses, you should be able to see lot of FTRs everywhere. When you are seeing so many FTRs, be happy that you have so many FTRs and you can always pick the best FTRs. How to pick the best FTRs? A strong momentum. You can filter your rules, right? If you are happily finding 10 20 FTRs, you become strict. We are choosing mangoes in a stop. If there are so many mangoes, you can go and pick the best mango that you want. If mangoes are less, you don't have a choice, you need to do something. Okay, so you can trail your stop loss to every FTRs and also bring here the concepts of 8 enhancers. Thank you, Gaurav Singh. Remember 8 enhancers, friends. At the end of the program, I will create an exclusive chart which contains all the 5 power zone with 5 rules and also the enhancers. All of you should put it in front of your trading system. That's when you remember. Okay, superimpose 8 rules. You will eliminate many bad FTRs also. And don't ever think all FTRs are great. No, every fruit will have a bad fruit. You should choose the right one. Okay, all retracements. What is actually happening here? Think practically. Bus is going from Bangalore to Chennai. This is Chennai, this is Bangalore. Okay, now let's take a better example. Why always Chennai? Now Bangalore is Bangalore to Delhi. So Bangalore went from Bangalore to Hyderabad. It came some midway, picked up all the people, okay, and filled all the demand for Delhi goers. Went up again. It went to somewhere at Madhya Pradesh, Bhopal. It picked up people, came down. Okay, everybody was loaded in the bus. Again, it went up. Okay, like every time it forms a peak, that retracement forms a zone, and we believe that all these zones will have pending orders and might give good reactions, because every time the bus comes back to fill the people, the bus will not have enough seats to fill the people. It might leave some people, and definitely when the second bus comes, we assume it reacts, we assume it reacts, we assume it reacts, and we assume it reacts. Is this clear, friends? Any questions? Any questions? Superb. No questions, I will move ahead. FTR family. Okay, FTRs are formed after engulfing a barrier. Correct? What is a barrier? The H1 H2. We already know this. One of such barrier is an FTR in opposite direction. Look at a diagram above. It is self-explanatory. This is a demand FTR. Price is going up. Came to Hosur for pickup, came to Krishnagiri for pickup, came to Salem for pickup, came to Vellore for pickup, and finally reached Chennai. And then when price comes back, that FTR is broken. It's gone, right? The moment the FTR is broken, what does it mean? What does it mean? Now the trend is elegantly broken. When a big trend is broken, what is that you have to look for? You need to look for reversal trades. Trend is negative. Now when price is coming back, the price comes back from Chennai, stops in Vellore, goes back to Vellore, again goes down, goes back to Salem, again goes down, goes back to Krishnagiri, again goes down, goes back to Hosur, and take the price down. And all these levels are tradable zones now. At that time, what happens? We expect another bus to come and pick these people all the time. Got it? That is the meaning. Okay. So once a trend is formed, remember this point. The message that I want to give here is once a family of FTR, if one guy is broken, his entire chain may be broken. So did you trade any such accelerator, Anirban? No. Anirban, no. Because most of the times I have a fixed target, Anirban. I never traded multiple FTRs. I have traded big targets. Big targets happened, but not in theory for based on FTR perspective. Okay. Exactly. Never look for retracement against the trend. At FTR-D and FTR-1, what happened? The price broke. See, remember now, this FTR-D base, okay? This is a zone. It's a zone. Tell me now, friends, which is more powerful, breaking an SR or breaking a zone? Which is more powerful? Zone is more powerful. Why? It is a power pattern. Your SR is not a power pattern. SR is just a bloody line. When a zone is broken, so zone is broken, formed a low, base formed and broke it. When next price retrace here, we will take trade. This is nothing in parallel, high, low, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low. At that time, your trend is broken. This is more or less the same thing, but this is a FTR escalator concept. Yes, it is an express bus. When it goes from Bangalore to Chennai, it doesn't want to leave a single passenger in the journey, and the bus driver is generous enough to come back and pick. Similarly, when he goes from Chennai to Bangalore, the same attitude holds good when he is willing to go back and pick more people when his target is coming to Bangalore. I hope this bus example gives a better clarity. If the same bus goes, don't ask me. The same company can send another bus also. That is never a problem, or more buses. Wherever there are passengers, it will go. Wherever there are pending orders, price will go. Is this clear, buddies? Did the bus example confuse you guys or simplified the concept? Okay. Now, the price is going up, up, up. This is a lovely question. The pending orders may expire on expiry date. How can we relate? There is nothing like the expiry date for pending orders. Pending orders can stay for the rest of your life. In Forex, your pending orders can stay for decades. In stocks also, it can stay for decades. Go and check what happened to Reliance Industries price when it kissed the peak of 2008, it reacted royally. If you are trading an FTR escalator, you can do pyramiding at FTR zone. So perfect. Lovely statement from Sridharaji. He says that whenever you are on an uptrend, you can always adapt your trades on your FTR zones. How to play stop loss for indefinite period? The concept is simple. Again, go back to the basics, proximal and distal lines. Keep trailing your stop loss. Move the stop loss from the distal line of FTR1 to the distal line of FTR2 to the distal line of FTR3 and go on. Is it simple? No, friends. Indian brokers allow stop loss for one day. You have to put stop loss every day, my friend. Or else wait for algo system session. We will explain you how to use automation for all that. Okay, the summary is when the topmost FTR is broken, expect all its other family members to be killed. Okay, now let us see what is happening in this scenario. There's a beautiful FTR formed, price beautiful FTR formed. Now, friends, remember price never retraced. Okay, let's assume price never retraced. Now, price has gone to the top. Okay, now what happened? It formed a low, it broke the low, it went, formed the base and broke that low also. So this is L1, this is L2. When that is formed, this is a supply FTR. And when we take an entry, okay, when in a long term trend, after series of demand FTRs, one strong supply FTR is formed. That supply FTR can come and destroy all the demand FTRs. Okay, see what happened here? The price came down, it reacted slightly from that FTR, but finally it broke down. Okay, remember when a demand FTR is broken, always look for a very powerful reverse supply FTR. You will get a very good trade. That is the meaning of this. Demand FTR broken, automatically supply FTR formed. You can always trade retracement. Okay, again demand FTR broken, supply FTR formed, trade retracements. Oh, there's a beautiful question by Ranga. For derivatives, the pending orders may expire on expiry dates. How can we relate? Sir, institutions put pending orders automatically. Institutions automatically will have a system to rename. Institutions always play current month data only. When price comes there, automatically it will click. For institutions, it's only current month. There's nothing like next month, next to next month. They have all automated systems in place to change the expiry date automatically. Okay, so they change it. Okay, exactly. So somebody says the zones are forming and on the powerful momentum candles on the left side. When price is coming from an higher time frame supply, look at what is this. This is a higher time frame supply. For example, what is this? This is a monthly daily FTR, daily FTR, daily FTR, and here you have a very powerful weekly FTR supply. For example, who is powerful? When he is coming down, he will destroy everyone. Okay, never trade against the bigger trend. Simple. That is the moral of the story. Okay, friends, let me move on, and I wish to quickly cover up some more stuffs. So the message is which FTR is dominating. Whenever a major FTR demand is broken, and expect the price to make series of lower supply FTRs, and it can easily break demand FTRs. Okay, look at this classic example. Okay, so assume there was an H1 here. Now don't ask me where is H1. There was an H1 here. It broke, formed a high, came the base, broke that high. So this is FTR demand. Again same thing, this is H high. Okay, then broke. Okay, and it didn't really create an H2. Okay, it's like more like a rally based rally, but that is also FTR. Okay, but this might not be a great FTR because there is no big momentum, not a strong high formed. Agree? Okay, some work, some don't know. We have to look at which is the best work. Okay, now when price coming down, let me clear off this, fellows. What actually happened? Find price formed a low. This is the low. Okay, price broke that low, went up, formed a L2. This is L2. Okay, this is L1. Went up, formed a base, broke L2 also. And retracement, what happens? You are taking the trade. Okay, once here this new supply FTR broke the demand FTR, then look at that. Okay, the second demand FTR also, I mean, gave reaction, but the reaction is very low because the supply is dominating. So we always remember, this is a thumb rule. If a demand FTR is broken by a supply FTR, the supply FTR is stronger and it can break more demand FTRs. Rule 2, if a supply FTR is broken by a demand FTR, okay, all the subsequent supply FTRs can be destroyed by the subsequent demand FTRs. That is the meaning. Is it too heavy, friends? If it's heavy, no worries, see the video again. I'm damn sure you should get it. Okay, and let me go to the last topic of the day, that is called PAZ. PAZ is very simple, friends. This is called price action zone. Okay, generally what happens, these are all FTRs. Okay, all these blue lines are FTRs, all these blue boxes are FTRs. Okay, and the space between two FTR is called as a PAZ. Friends, you have two demand FTRs. Okay, and the space between two demand FTRs is called as a PAZ. Yes, Chandra, that is correct. Okay, friends, very simple. The zone between two power patterns. And now don't ask me, Ashok, is only FTR? I mentioned power patterns. Okay, PAZ is price action zone. I mentioned any power pattern. If the space between a flag limit, one flag limit and one FTR, one flag limit and another flag limit, an FTR to a flag limit, an FTR to an FTR, anything, the price between two power patterns is called as PAZ. That's all. Just remember this for now, and the rest of the things I will take care in the subsequent sessions. Okay, okay, and ideally this is what is happening. Okay, so the words cannot explain the story, I have to explain it here. What happened? FTR1 formed, FTR2 formed. When FTR1 and 2 formed, in the gap between the two is called okay, that's a clean, that's a price action zone. So now between 2 and 3 there's another price action zone, 3 and 4 there's another price action zone, and so on. Okay, now what happens, friends, when an FTR is broken? Look at this demand FTR. Okay, when a demand FTR is broken and price comes inside a price action zone, Okay, then this will create that flutter. This will create the reverse escalator. This is what happens. It keeps forming the new reverse reversal zones, the new supply patterns everywhere, and you will look for trading those levels. Okay, the PAC is numbered from top to bottom is because the first, when price comes inside between two FTR, once it breaks an FTR into and enter into another FTR territory. So take this example. Take this guy. Okay, this is an FTR, this is an FTR. Okay, both are respected, not yet broken, but once the first FTR is broken, okay, this is an area of prominence. This is a area of prominence, and price will logically slowly move to all the future areas one by one, in par with whatever slide we spoke. In par, it will go to those zones, which means it will go and destroy all the previous FTR demand zones one by one, because once it is formed. And now don't ask me, so what is the point? All the FTRs are not strong anymore. No, FTRs would be strong. Price will come and it will react. Not that it don't react, it doesn't react, it will react, but there is very high probability of breaking those zones. And we already discussed in the previous slide, once a supply FTR kills a demand FTR, and that supply FTR will have more strength to kill more demand FTRs on the downsides. How about this pattern in sideways market? You will not even have a pattern, no. In a sideways market, where will you get FTRs? Do you get FTRs in sideways market? Hari, tell me the answer. It is definitely head and shoulder pattern also. Arvind is telling, is it not head and shoulder pattern? Friends, all these head and shoulders, all these patterns are defined based on price action only. Why will head and shoulder pattern work? It's a classic price action behavior. We will come and talk about it very soon. Exactly. FTR is never possible in a sideways market. Is it clear, friends? There is an FTR, there is an FTR, there is an FTR. There is a PAZ, there is a PAZ. Okay, when price comes and by any chance in future comes and breaks this FTR, and then we will look to form a supply FTR, and that supply FTR will keep forming reversal patterns, and I expect to trade only reversals for very high probability of success. Okay, remember this, these things takes little time to digest. I know it's not easy, I know it's not simple, but just remember this. Okay, so summary, the FTR is the second most powerful pattern in our tradable patterns. We have learned that FTRs are formed after a price break, when a barrier is broken. What is that barrier? H1 and H2. How many engulfs? Two engulfs. Okay, okay. So FTRs are ideal places for trades because institutions will have pending orders. The bus will come reversal to a point to pick up lot many waiting passengers. Remember the bus story in FTR example. You will connect well. Never forget the 5 rules of FTR pattern. H1 formed, H1 broken, H2 formed, base formed, H2 broken. And same thing in an opposite direction for supply FTR. Do not forget the 4 types of FTR pattern, the 2 demand and the 2 supplies, where the zone is formed. In a demand FTR, the base can be formed between the 2 highs, or it can form below the 2 highs, and you don't have to care about it. And focus on which FTR series is dominating. Remember points, friends? You just have to look on the back and see if there are more FTRs, or you need to see if there is any FTR, any demand FTR broken by a supply FTR. That's it. and focus on the PAZ2. If the price breaks a supply demand FTR and the price comes between two demand FTRs, for example, then that is a PAZ. Then from that moment you will look to find only supply FTRs. Many times price moves keeps rallying between demand and supply FTR. It keeps shuffling also. And you definitely don't get classic patterns. It takes time, friends. It really takes time. You need to at least do 100 500 charts to get a hang of it. But if you have understood the concept well, I'm more than happy, and I'm damn sure when you guys go back and see the video all over again, you will get a different perspective of the whole story. Make simple notes. I have tried my best to simplify things, and I am telling you, these are the most complex stuffs, friends. These are the most complex stuffs. It will take a lot of time to understand. If you have understood something today, you're too good. Okay, so as you see the slides more and more, definitely you'll get better understanding, and in the next session after coffee break we will go and see lot more examples of the FTRs. Okay, all right. So with this, the first session comes to an end, and we'll connect again in 30 more minutes to discuss on the examples of FTR. Okay, thank you, friends. Have a quick break. I'll see you at sharp 11:45. Thank you, guys. I'm signing off. We will catch up again.